in Europe. And there we go. Good
Hey,
morning, Europe. Good morning to the world, and good evening to Casey Fenton. We are here today with a true legend. He's a startup pioneer, and most of you guys know him because he's the founder of Couchsurfing, something we definitely want to touch base on. But there are so many other projects he has on his plate at the moment. We want to talk about the remote work. We want to talk about him, his story. First of all, I'm just like super stoked that a legend like him takes the time to talk to us, to the community, and provide a lot of value for the next 20 minutes. Casey, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
thanks, Ollie. Pleasure to be here. I love your show, and I love the topic. So it's near and dear to my heart. So let's do
Awesome,
it.
bro. Awesome, bro. Let's do it. Let's smash some value bombs. We're super excited to have you here. First of all, thank you so much again for taking the time. Bro, you are in the business for 25 years as a startup entrepreneur, and we know you for Couchsurfing. I wanna start with Couchsurfing because that's probably where everyone is like super interested in, and then we skip a little bit forward into the future.
Sure.
Tell us about Couchsurfing. How did that whole thing started? Why did you came up with something like that?
Yeah. So growing up, I was one of the probably more shy or introverted people in my entire class. Who just hang out in the back. Don't call on me. I don't want to, be called on or have to just speak out in front of everybody. And as time went on, I just didn't want to be introverted and by myself anymore. And I said, there has to be a way to escape this small town I'm in. And I started to travel the world a little bit, and I got a little bit of a taste of it. And I said, if I could have a backstage pass like this, like these crazy experiences I just had in Iceland or Netherlands, wouldn't that be great? And wouldn't it be great if I could do that with everybody else? If we could all help each other travel like this. Happened to be a computer programmer, and I said, well, if I could just explain to other people who I am, maybe I could do a small minimal viable product, then they could get excited about me coming to visit. So I went to Iceland. I spammed a bunch of people. I said, can I stay on your couch? And I found the University of Iceland student directory, and it got 1,500 names and emails, and sent a big mail merge spam. And I got between 50 and 100 people saying, come stay with me. And I had some of the best times in my entire life. And I said, I have to travel like this, every time. So that was kind of how it got started. And being a computer programmer and a web person, I was able to just sit there in a dark room. And this is the irony of it all. I sit there in a dark room programming for days, staying up and just drinking more caffeine and eating more salads because I'm vegetarian. And I just keep going. That was the genesis of it. And then it was really hard though, because then I had to learn, how do I involve other people? If I'm such a shy person, how do I transition from that to like, hey, let's all do this together, right? That's a big lesson.
Right. That's awesome. That's how the whole thing started. That's when you then came up with the whole Couchsurfing project.
Yeah, it just started programming it, and then we started making collectives. We started making Couchsurfing collectives. We got volunteers from around the world. We'd have these live work collectives, and then that couldn't even scale. We couldn't keep enough people working focused. So at the end of the day, somebody's kind of holding the bag and making sure that the websites are up, that it's dealing with all the safety concerns and so on. And then we ended up having to convert from a nonprofit into a for-profit, and Silicon Valley, and all kinds of trials and tribulations and stories. After that, I mean, there's a million stories we could go on forever, but we only have a few minutes today, so.
Yeah, I think we could talk about that for hours and hours and hours. How is Couchsurfing? Very straightforward, honest question. How is Couchsurfing doing at the moment? How is it affected by COVID at the moment? Is it like pretty much?
Yeah. So of course.
What are you guys doing?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as you can imagine, with COVID, the activity slowed down dramatically, and that's just what it has to be for now, because you can't travel right now. It's not a time to go travel and socialize in person. So certainly the community is more virtual at this point. Just kind of a waiting game.
Right. It's a waiting game. I believe
it's a waiting game.
Yeah, for most all of us. Something
Yeah,
we
I
just
would say that.
we
No,
can't do anything about it, right? It's
right.
like
You can get inspired. You can get inspired. You can get excited. You can say, you make all these plans and have these dreams, but we're all in a little bit of a holding pattern while we're trying to
yeah.
get some, biological things worked out in this world.
Exactly, exactly. No, I totally agree. And I just like before we started the interview, I had a call with a very close friend, and I was saying, look, at the moment, you can give me $1 million and we run the biggest and most amazing marketing campaign. It's not going to
Hmm.
change because the
Yeah,
borders will not open. Like as long as people don't travel, all these projects are kind of like on hold, and this is kind of like what we have to push through. But, and here
yeah,
is the exciting thing, and that's what I love most about you as a real entrepreneur. You have many other projects going on, obviously,
yeah, yeah,
and one of them is Upstock, right? And so,
yeah.
so
That's right.
tell us a little bit of Upstock. I think that's a very interesting,
Sure.
future-oriented project.
Yeah, future of work, big time. So, okay, so if Couchsurfing is about sharing your heart, sharing your life with other people around the world, uh, Upstock is about sharing your passion. It's about sharing your project. It's about sharing your dream. It's about sharing your company. How often do we, as nomad people or travelers or visionaries, we get inspired? We have an idea of a project we want to create. But then we're like, well, I guess that's a big vision. I need other people to do this with me. I can't do this on my own. Mostly, at least most good big projects are like that. So how do you get a bunch of people together to do it with you? In a nonprofit model, that certainly makes sense. Hey, we're all going to start a nonprofit, but in a for-profit model, there's not many good tools out there for sharing equity. Usually you think, I got to go to a lawyer. A lawyer gives you a big stack of paperwork. You sign it and you're like, what was that? I don't know. Put it in a drawer, forget about it. That's not very inspiring, and that doesn't get a bunch of people together around a table saying, "Yeah, let's do this. I know that we all own our fair share." So because that didn't exist and there was nobody creating it, a few years ago we just had to create it for ourselves, to use in our own startups. So we created some virtual equity system and with RSUs, and finally, and then after we were using it for a long time, then Founders Fund came along and said, you should make this a company and productize this. And we were like, yeah, we should totally do that. So then we started doing that in the last couple of years. And then now we've just in the process of launching this last year, after we tested with hundreds of companies. But the long and short of it is just, it's a simple way to share equity and ownership in a project or a company. It could be pre-formation, could be post-formation. And you want to take, hey, we're going to create a pool of equity. We want to put a bunch of people in that pool or divvy up slices that will vest over time. And we want people to be able to see that ownership in that pool in real time. So think of it, it's kind of like a video game. If you want to get somebody engaged, what do? You just start playing the game. And if you like the game, you play it more. It's that simple.
Right.
You don't go
Right.
and read a big manual and then read a manual you can't understand and then play the game in your mind. Those games don't work very well. People get demoralized, demotivated. So it's all about people being able to see what they have, and seeing is believing. And then with all the legalese and to back it up to make it legit. Ultimately, what it does is it increases cooperation, so people can do big things together. For founders, it really helps multiply your leadership, because leadership's really hard. I mean, starting off as an introvert and trying to make myself more of a leader over time, that was a challenging exercise. So I know how important leadership is. And if people are financially aligned with you, if you're all in it together and you're getting your fair share, then people are not second guessing. Are we all in this together? If we're saying,
Right.
hey, let's go up that hill, let's go up that mountain, people are like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So and there, until now, you had napkin handshake agreements, or you have to go expensive lawyer contracts that people get demotivated by
Yeah.
trying to solve that problem.
That's awesome, bro. Congratulations to that. And
Thanks.
I need to be I'm very honest. Before we schedule the interview, obviously I always do my homework. I wasn't aware about the project. I think a few
Hmm.
weeks ago, Dave told me about it, and that's then when we scheduled the interview. So I was started to look into it, and I got really excited about that. And I
Mm.
think like this is legendary, bro. I mean, like Couchsurfing is cool, but this one here is like, wow. So I think there is a massive, massive potential. And the way you put it out there, it makes so much sense. And now that you explained it to me, like it is like a game. And then, because that's how I felt about it, it's definitely, that's spot on. And that's definitely what the future about should be, and bringing these people together. Awesome. So Nomad X community, everyone out there, I know it's early morning, but I've seen we have Ken Walls on the stream who said whoop whoop. So guys, if you have questions, even if you watch the recording afterwards, which a lot of you people will, ask questions, say hello, push that like button, show us some love, because this one here is value bomb after value bomb, and we are the true legend here, and I'm super stoked for the next 10 minutes. And there are maybe two topics I want to make sure we are touching base on. First of all, one other topic, which is about you, and that's also something I found really fascinating. You are writing a book which called Ego Hacking.
That's right.
How comes? Because you're really into that stuff as well, which I absolutely love. Can you enlighten us on that?
Sure. And we're playing around with the name. Is it ego hacking? Is it identity hacking? Really what we're talking about here is human identity programming, right? If you think about it, we don't really have a great operating system as humans. We just, how do we operate? I don't know. Well, how does your ego or identity work? I don't know. Does it affect every moment of your life? Yeah. Does it affect every decision you make or every interaction you have? Yeah. Does it serve you? Maybe. What if you had some language or had some understanding for how an awareness of how you've been programmed, and how you would, and then figure out how you'd like to be programmed, and then go about getting that programming. And it's based on this insight that we become what other people tell us we are for social cohesion. Like our bodies want to become what other people want us to be, so that we, are cohesive. There's a lot of biology backing this up. You've heard we become the 5 people we hang out with. There's more recent science that says you actually become all the people you hang out with, and all the people they hang out with, and whatever. You're all the people that you're being influenced by. And so it really kind of, we're trying to hit home on this, that it's hard to change yourself on your own. If you're just doing it in your own little container, it could be slow going. It could even be an uphill battle. You could be swimming upstream if everybody around you is telling you, no, you're a different person. You can't change. Your body, your biology wants to naturally find and reinforce and look for evidence of whatever your identity is. I mean, in a complex world, you're pattern matching, trying to make sense of it, and anything that's in your identity will come up in precedence. You'll notice those things more than anything else. So it's a snowball. So program yourself with the right snowball, and you'll get more of it. So it's all about how to program yourself, but to get your friends' help to do it, because your friends can program you faster than you can program yourself, because you'll become what they want you to be.
I love it, man.
Yes.
This is very, very interesting. I never looked at it from that point of view. Absolutely.
Yeah, right. There's so many self-help, personal development programs out there, but if you don't take the social piece into account, it's a big piece.
Right.
It's going to be, it could be this X factor that can hold you back and make any personal growth or development seem impossible or not really stick. So this is a way to figure out, how are you programmed? Who do you want to be programmed as? And then how do you get that? How do you do that? Yeah.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah, we're building a whole platform on this.
Okay.
A bunch of folks, including. Go ahead.
Sorry, when can we expect that to go live?
Great question. I don't want to make any promises. I'd like to under-deliver, and under promise, over deliver, right? Don't want to under-deliver. That would be bad. Certainly done that in my life a few times. Learned those lessons. So I would love to have the first kind of book that's just a simple version of book that just explains it and has kind of emotional stories within the next year or so. Awesome. And we're building this platform. I could really use some help for anybody out there who loves psychology, loves programming, loves identity, loves changing yourself. I would really love for you to get in touch with me and to help do this project together, because I've been speaking around the world about this, but now it's really time to bring this to the world. I mean, this world, if we are not careful, could go splat, right?
Right.
And a lot of that has to do with human identity and ego. People's
Right.
egos getting in the way. We can say it's all this other stuff, but it's egos, and you could say it at the national level, international level, different levels. But once we know how we're being programmed and we can help people become who they want to be, I think that could make a big difference in the world.
Awesome. I love it. Guys, you heard it. If you want to be part of the project, get in touch with
Mm-hmm.
Casey. We're
Yeah.
going to tag him in that post, obviously, afterwards, but I will also make
Mm-hmm.
sure to drop the website, caseyfenton.com, later on here in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all going to find you. I think that's an awesome
Yep.
project. I'm super excited now
Yep.
that I know more about it because I haven't known
Mm-hmm.
any details. I might go even in touch with you to talk more in detail about that because it sounds freaking amazing.
Mm.
Casey, that's awesome. Let's spend the next
Mm.
or even the last 5 minutes. I promise to keep it
Mm.
down to 20 minutes. We are having actually in a very interesting situation because you're up in Alaska and I'm down in Bali. We're kind of like streaming
Mm.
once around the world. This is like the
Right.
longest I think we've ever streamed, and that makes me even more excited and gives
Mm-hmm.
me a good touching point to switch gears a little bit. Remote work
Mm-hmm.
and what's going
Yeah.
on. Obviously, we see at the moment it's increasing massively. Everyone works from home. COVID makes it
Mm-hmm.
happen. What is your forecast on the future
Mm.
of remote work?
Yeah, for me, it's really clear. It's really straightforward. People have needs. They have basic needs. They're trying to get satisfied. And in the past, we kind of said, well, I guess I go to the job, I get the money, then I solve the basic needs. Then as time
Mhm.
went on and things got more complex and people had more possibilities, more opportunities, economies are growing, we got to say, hey, well, some of us think we can work remote. We're information workers. And so we kind of want to get it all. I want to work from wherever I want to work, and I want to get that job done too. Right. And then that's just grown. More people have that need. I want to work from wherever I want to work. I want to work on my own time. That's a dream that I think a lot of us have. But
Mhm.
there's big challenges with that, namely, leadership. How do you inspire people? How do you keep them connected? How do you keep them feeling like they're in this together? And that's an emotional thing. Yes, you can have all the spreadsheets, all the Trello boards, all you want, all the asanas, whatever. But how do you keep people emotionally inspired? And I think that technology will definitely come in to save the day here. Um, right now in this video, it's good, but is it what quality of video we have? You can see, my facial expressions, your facial expressions. I can kind of get some of the body language. I can certainly get some of the tonality. But the more we have high fidelity, whether it's in audio, it's in the video quality, the more that people don't actually have to be there in person. And I can see with having higher and higher bandwidth available in more places around the world, you can lead from afar. You can work with teams from afar. This is where we're going. COVID has only accelerated that. We of course have these fears. What if people are, going to stay focused? What if they don't care? Well, I mean, some of that's to do with leadership and people working on things that they care about, right? And you need the right tools to feel that. But I think again, technology will come in. It has to. We're kind of a do or die, right? And no, no pun intended there, of course. We have to, when it comes to our economy and raising this thing up, we're going to be working from afar. And this is just going to be more and more common. More and more people are gig workers. It's going to be more and more remote. And I think it just is only accelerated now. But now you just need
Right.
the right tools. So I hope that Upstock can certainly help people become more trustworthy of each other from afar, because that trust is hard from afar.
Mhm.
You need to know how and
Mhm.
who you can trust, and your time and your futures with, right?
Exactly. How are you handling it with your companies? Are you guys completely remote or are you still going to the offices? Probably not now, but how are you how is your setup?
Well, we've always been 100% remote
All right.
since the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For I've been working remote, I guess, for like probably the last 10 years or so, at least. I mean, before that, I've been, 20 years for remote. What am I talking about? Yeah, Couchsurfing, we had collectives around the world. Yes, we had some in person, and then eventually we just had to move to remote. We couldn't sustain everybody in the same office all the time. Then we did have an office in San Francisco, and then now it's back to remote. So
Yes.
You know, when you have the right tools, you can do that. But it can be scary for people, and there's some growing pains. But we're all in it together, so we're going to start to
Exactly.
see great solutions that will triumph, I'm sure, and help make sure that we can live this dream of getting all of our needs met and have it all.
Exactly. Awesome. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I couldn't
Yeah.
agree more on what you just said.
Hmm.
Casey, thank you so much. These were like really, really exciting 20 minutes. Absolutely loving it. Thank you so much for sharing your
Thanks,
projects, which
Ollie.
I believe think they are awesome. I'm super excited to
Ollie,
see more of you. Yeah.
thank you for creating what you created with Nomad X. Look at this community. It's so cool. And I've just been going down through all the comments and all the support that people are showing each other in this community, and your smile and your enthusiasm. I'm proud to be a member. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Yes.
much. Don't make me blush. That's so
Uh,
cool. Thanks so much for saying it. It was an honor to have you on
yeah.
the show, and I'm super stoked to, yeah, that you are a part of our community, of our tribe. And as I said, I'm excited to keep following you and every other thing you're coming up with. So all the best, all the way up to
Okay.
Alaska. Say hello to your wife, and I wish you
I
all the
will.
best. Thank you so much.
You got it. Cheers. See you soon.
Bye bye.
Hopefully somewhere in the world soon we'll meet up.
Hopefully we will. We will. At one
Yeah.
point we will for sure. Thank you so much. Bye
Cheers,
bye.
Ollie. Bye.